football on the initial hit by Sean Considine. And Hickson loses 4 on the return. A 37-yard punt by Rocca. The Meadowlands, Giants' third offensive possession. They start from their own 15-yard line. Derek Ward, his first carry today. And Ward gains 9, close to a Giants first down.
Derek Ward just did a great job of finding Boston, coming right off his shoulder, knowing that he's going to go and get pushed the size of that guy.
The Eagles were impressed with Boss in the first meeting. They felt he played better than they expected. Ward, this time.
Boss from this Philadelphia Eagle defense. You see, he had the slow start the first 6 games, but you look what he's done the last 6. And they've got their eyes. They know where he's going to be at. They're going to take care of him. Watch this one right here, Brian Dawkins. If sometimes you think it's just a safety, hey, I've just got run support on that one. It's not one of those big linebackers. But Brian Dawkins, he's going to bring it every time. It's a divisional game. It's physical. You've got to be ready every snap. But the Philadelphia Eagles have got a lot more respect for Kevin Boss.
The toss down to Ahmad Bradshaw. And Bradshaw tackled by Stuart Bradley, a yard shy of a first down.
They're doing a great job on the edges, Goose. That was 2 consecutive runs.
And making those guys in the backfield make their cuts early.
So the Giants have gone 3 and out on their last 2 possessions. Eagles punt taken at the 33 by Deshaun Jackson. And Jackson upended at the 38-yard line by Danny Clark. 5-yard return, 43-yard punt by Feagles. Well, the NFL on Fox continues.
Bigger test later today against that Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Penalty markers.
Using as a rallying cry since they've kind of fallen on some tough times with Tony Romo out of the lineup. They looked at what the Giants did last season in their great Super Bowl run.
Westbrook on 1st and 5. 37.
Not just throughout the season, but also during the course of the games. The one thing I've seen from the Eagles over the years is that little bit of lull that they get into each game.
McNabb on 2nd and 10, firing downfield, and the catch is made by Kevin Curtis. A spectacular catch by Curtis, and Giants the first 6 games out with a sports hernia. 1st and 10 from the 30. Westbrook spins into the arms of Antonio Pierce.
Antonio Pierce is watching him from down here on the field. I mean, he is mirroring, you know, Brian Westbrook in the backfield. Brian Westbrook, wherever he goes, Antonio Pierce has an eye on him no matter where he goes.
And again, Goose, it's Fred Robbins. Fred Robbins, tremendous penetration on that. Makes Brian Westbrook make his cut 2.5 yards into the back when he's in the backfield.
2nd down and 11. 3 wide receivers. Deshaun Jackson, top of your screen, split to the right. Off the fake to Westbrook. McNabb throws behind Jackson.
See how Steve Spagnuolo wants to defend this. Is he going to have him look at a blitz look and then drop everybody out? Is he going to bring pressure, Goose, and try and jump that high?
I don't know. Looks like they're talking it over now. Looks like they're just going to go and play a little coverage, but the Giants do a great job of disguising.
Fred Robbins coming through early.
Justin Tuck said the center's doing something with the ball, and for Fred to be right over top of him and not have something influence him to jump that quick. I mean, that was pretty early in the cadence.
I don't even think everybody was set yet.
Encroachment. Defense. Number 98.
He saw Jamal Jackson's head come up, and he's like, as soon as his head comes up, I'm going. Little did he know it was probably on 2, and sometimes you got to take the good with the bad, Moose.
3rd down and 6. Eagles must get to the 20. The toss to Jackson, and Matthias Kiwanuka makes the play.
I don't understand that play at all. With the penetration that we've seen this Giants defense get all day, why would you go and run those plays? We saw a crazy reverse, right, Moose, from both teams?
Yeah.
And then that play. I mean, that's Not a good percentage play in my book.
Well, we really don't have enough time yet to see how they're playing it on the backside. So I agree with you, Goose. Much too early to see these types.
I'm out here to force a field goal attempt into the wind instead of the quarter running out and the team switching sides.
It just detail is executed by this Giant team. Great coaching, great awareness of the situations, take into consideration the wind conditions, what's going to happen. Tom Coughlin is ready to make this call immediately when the clock is running down. And one of the things that the Giants team has done all season, really, except for that Cleveland game, they don't do things that beat themselves, and they're prepared for all types of different scenarios. Their attention to detail has been phenomenal all season.
This ball should go from the right upright to the left. That's how the wind's blowing down here.
51-yard attempt, David Akers. And Akers connects from 51 yards out. His longest. Eagles lead 3-0. Bit of confusion on the field. The officials initially indicated it was a Giants timeout. It turns out it was Andy Reid who called timeout prior to the field goal attempt.
Yeah, so let's give all that praise to Andy Reid and his staff, understanding the situation in that and feeling more comfortable kicking that direction, which is surprising to me, Goose, because I watched David Akers in pregame and kicking the other direction.
Giants start from their own 15-yard line, trailing 3-0. Manning going deep for Dominic Hickson, and it goes through his hands.
Well, we just had a great field goal by David Akers, and we just saw a great throw by Eli Manning. So anybody who's wondering how Eli Manning will handle the conditions here at the Meadowlands during the playoffs, you can't put it in a better spot than that, deep down the field.
Hickson, of course, starting for the suspended Plaxico Burress, who Giants. He scored more touchdowns, Burress, against the Eagles than any other player in the league over the last 4 seasons.
Short timeout, Philadelphia.
2nd and 10, Jacobs. Jacobs to the 20, gain of 5. Keep this in mind, guys. The Eagles are now out of timeouts. Sheldon Brown on the coverage.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 24, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
An opportunity for the Eagles to get off the field right now. More snaps. Amani Toomer on the outside, number 81.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about the hold in the entire ball game, and make your adjustments right now.
Giants have picked up 3 first downs in the game, all via penalty. And now Brandon Jacobs with a first down on his own as Jacobs gains 23.
And usually Brandon Jacobs has to go and break a couple tackles. On that particular run, no one touched him till he was 10 yards downfield. That offensive line did a great job of paving a lane for Brandon Jacobs. Let's take a look at it right here. Hedgecock does a nice job of kicking out. There he goes. I mean, you can't let a man of that size go and run free in your secondary, Moose. You will not win a game if that happens.
Derek Ward in the backfield. 2 tight ends. Loss shifting. Giants 48. Quarter expired. 2nd and 10. Derek Ward. Ward into Eagles territory. Lost the football. Giants recover. The left tackle, David Deal, with the fumble recovery.
Everybody hustling for the New York Giants. They get an opportunity to get this ball back. There it is on the ground. Quentin Michael had a chance, but couldn't get on. There's Trent Cole down the bottom of the pile. David Deal comes away with it.
Mike Patterson knocked it loose. Steal the recovery. Third down and 4. 4 wide receivers winding down. Manning with time. He fires, and the catch is made by Hickson, who had one go through his hands earlier on this drive. Dominic Hickson makes the catch, a gain of 13, and a Giants first down.
The New York Giants doing a good job back a little bit because they have not looked real sharp. They missed the big opportunity for the big play down the field on that opening play to Dominic Hickson. They get a good run by Brandon Jacobs, but other than that, it's been kind of sloppy here. Hanging in there.
From the 33, Brandon Jacobs. Jacobs looks to turn the corner, tackled by Stuart Bradley. Steve Smith in motion, down an 8. Penalty markers, Jacobs gains 2 down to the 29 before he would
go on movement. You're going to go on the center's head. You need to go and back up like a quarter of a yard or a half a yard. This way, if you do go a little bit early, you still have that little bit of area or room or cushion that you won't be off sides when you go early.
Jacobs on 2nd and 3. Ninth play of the drive for the Giants. Third down and 6. 3 receivers. Smith in the slot. Giants must get to the 23. Fakes. Now he throws. And Amani Toomer was out of bounds when he made the catch.
What a great job by Eli Manning at the line of scrimmage, because Philadelphia...
Play, the blitz was coming from his right. On the left-hand side, there was a huge hole where nobody was coming. That's exactly where he slid. So he's not only has vision of the secondary, but the line of scrimmage of where he can go and gain a little time to get that ball downfield.
And Carney's kick is blocked. A 47-yard attempt. Carney had hit 14 in a row. And Trent, 2nd and 10 from the 16. This is Jacobs. Brandon Jacobs out across the 20. 5, Chris Gokong made the tackle.
In that Cleveland game.
Their only loss, they've won 7 consecutive games since. On 3rd and 6, no receiver in the vicinity.
That was a slant. It could have been inside that 5-yard area.
Fiegels punted from his own 10. Wow, what a kick. Bomb. Jackson fields it at the 20. Jackson up the sidelines, a penalty marker. 61-yard punt by Fiegels. 22 on the return. Only 4 yards on 6 carries. Worst starting field position of the day for the Eagles from their own 23-yard line. Westbrook out to the 26. Game.
You call them challenging. They're just not making the plays today, which they normally have done. Hickson has an opportunity to make a play. He doesn't do it. Now, let's not take away this time of the year. We'll challenge you, and I think the Eagles are facing a little bit of that so far in this first half.
Third down and 7. Eagles must get to the 33, and they do. As McNabb's pass is caught for a first down. Third down and 9. McNabb can't find anyone. Now throws to the outside. L.J. Smith, terrific second effort. And the New Jersey native, Rutgers product, picks up an Eagles first down as Smith gains 9.
Get 2 of the similar type of games in the course of a season.
First and 10 from the Giants 42. McNabb a pump fake to 360. Gets rid of it to L.J. Smith. And Smith picks up another first down to the Giants 30, a gain of 12.
Well, L.J. be like Tiger Woods trying to hold that 3-wood back after the little bug is on his ball. David Akers able to shut that kick down.
Greg Lewis will hold for Akers this time. Taken out of bounds by Sonoris Moss. Good return by Moss out to the 36. 22 yards.
But could it be, absolutely nothing?
Derek Ward to Eagle territory. 15 yards to the set, 2nd and 10.
Boy, he's really getting
Draw there, hard counts, getting free plays downfield, using your ability to go and draw defenses off sides.
Derek Ward to the 42. Manning over the top. Incomplete.
Sideline, haven't seen the Giants like this in a long time, Bruce.
And good Giants going for it on 4th and 3. Knowing that the Eagles are out of timeouts. Manning on 4th down. Dropped by Steve Smith.
Second time this year this has happened to this Eagles team. The other time was against San Francisco right before the half. Almost like Groundhog's Day for them.
I don't think David Akers had to hit this ball low to try and drive it through the wind. I think they got enough yardage where he just needed to get it up, but that ball never seemed to get above anybody as it got towards the line of scrimmage.
Me and you, Moose, talk about momentum and how big it is. I'll tell you what, there was no momentum for the Giants. They were in disarray. They didn't know what direction they were going in. They didn't have any feel. Right now, everything is going in the Giants' direction.
Justin Tuck just comes right up through the middle, sneaks inside, gets that big arm up. Attention to detail again, though. You've got a block guy and a guy coming off the edge that is there to scoop and score if you block the field goal.
Second career touchdown for Kevin Dockery. He returned it 71 yards. So instead of a successful field goal, a 13-0 lead for the Eagles, and they get the football to start the second half. John Carney with the point after. The Giants cut the Eagles' lead to 10-7. A huge turn of events here at the Meadowlands. The halftime report is coming up.
Eagles, that's Antonio Pierce. Linebacker for the Giants watches John Carney, 47-yard goal. It is blocked by Trent Cole of the Eagles, 3-0 at this point. Eagles tackle out of the V as in Villanova. There he is. Brian Westbrook, 30-yard touchdown run. Eagles over the Giants, 10-0. Then this field goal was blocked by Justin Tuck. Scooped up by Dockery. Dockery takes it to the house. 71-yard field goal return. Touchdown Giants. 10-7 Eagles on top of the New York Giants.
First and 10 from the 30-yard line. Westbrook gains a couple out to the 32.
We talked about the Giants having to come out and play well here in this third quarter with the wind at their back, but I really think that Andy Reid and his guys, after the way that first half ended, now they didn't, Tony mentioned they didn't take advantage of a lot of the opportunities that the Giants, gave them, but they're having an opportunity to go in at 13-0. And that is a huge chain of events to happen like that. I'm interested to see this opening drive by this Eagles offense.
3 wide receivers, second down and 8. The slant broke it up. Kevin Dockery, who scored the Giants touchdown following the blocked field goal. Brian Westbrook, the intended receiver.
You split Brian Westbrook on the outside, you're going to get a corner. You're going to draw a corner. That's a heck of a play by Kevin Dockery.
And Dockery in the game because Aaron Ross suffered an ankle injury in the first half. receiver. Third down and 8. Eagles must get to the 40. And they do. As McNabb's pass is caught at the 42-yard line. Jason Avant. So the Eagles able to move the chains.
Big conversion right there. Get yourself another set of downs. I got nervous there. It looked like Jason Avant was coming backwards. Antonio Pierce gives him a little bit more time. I think he might have ran beyond the first down marker the other way. Just get down. Oh, boy, does he get back off there. Chase actually on the tackle.
Eagles down to 4 wide receivers. Reggie Brown inactive today, and as Goose reported, Kevin Curtis will not return due to a concussion. Here's Westbrook up the middle. Westbrook pushing the pile out to the 45-yard line. Gain of 4.
And that's what they have to do. They've got to continue to get at least 3 yards when they run the football. And Steve Spagnuolo is going to do everything he can. He knows the way this offense functions from his time in Philadelphia, trying to stop it. But the one thing that John Runyon said is, you know, everybody wants to talk about us getting away from the running game. We can control that ourselves by being efficient. He goes, if we have a bunch of 2-yard runs or 1s and 0s, and, you know, God forbid we get some negative runs, Andy's going to move away from the running game.
70 yards on the ground for Westbrook, including 30 on the touchdown run. 2nd and 6. McNabb incomplete.
You know, that's exactly the one big thing that I've seen, the difference between the first quarter and the end of the second right now. The difference in that offensive line with the way they're coming off the ball, the way they're playing the pass. They're not getting any pressure to the Giants when they rush through. The Eagles' offensive line is playing very well together. They know the game plan and what they're going to see from the Giants now. And they saw it in the first half, and how they adjusted it very well from not only the pass but the run.
Eagles must get to the Giants 49. McNabb takes off. He picks up a first down. Donovan McNabb to the Giants 44.
Yes, folks, it's windy.
In case you've not been able to figure that out. Giants on offense for the first time in this third quarter from their own 24-yard line. Brandon Jacobs. Jacobs out to the 28. Eagles held the football for 7 minutes, come away with nothing.
This one's coming from the outside now. We saw Justin Tuck in the middle one. Now this one is coming off the edge with Terrell Thomas. Great effort not to give up on it. Look at him spin the body, get that arm up, gets a hand on it. Brent Celek, get a shove right there. Get a shove. You shorten the corner. You didn't give a lot of effort. You never know when your position is going to be the most one. We've had 2 guys kind of have a little bit of luck on a PAT field goal, and it's cost the Eagles 6 points. Actually, more than that with a block for the touch.
Jacobs out to the 34-yard line.
That's not a good sign right there. Brandon Jacobs looked like his ankle twisted an ankle or something with his leg.
Missed the game 2 weeks ago due to a left knee injury. Did not play in Arizona. One more look at the last play. Brandon Jacobs out. Derek Ward in. 3rd and inches for the Giants. First down.
And you talked about it better than Brandon Jacobs in this particular situation.
Ward's had a terrific season, over 1,000 yards of total offense. Over 600 yards on the ground for the 2nd straight season. Ward tries to bounce it to the outside.
Automatically. So one of the things that Eli hasn't got enough credit for this season is getting him into the right place at the line of scrimmage.
2nd down and 9. Inside handoff to Ward. And Ward is upended at the 45. Gain of 6 as we check in once again with Kurt.
Searching for that first win over Minnesota. Kenny?
All right, thanks, Kurt. 3rd down and 3. Giants must get to the 48. Low snap. Manning firing downfield for Hickson out of bounds. You saw Brian Dawkins on the coverage. Dawkins ties a club record today. His 180th game as an Eagle, matching Harry Carmichael. Eagles punt. Fair catch called for at the 15 by Deshaun. 41 yards. Philadelphia Eagles lead the New York Giants 10-7. Late third quarter. Giants scored their only touchdown on a 71-yard return of a blocked field goal by Kevin Dockery. Brian Westbrook takes it out to the 20.
Looks like something.
Here's Westbrook bouncing it to the outside and down at the 24, close to an Eagle himself. His yards today, Darrell, than the Giants. Giants only 117. Westbrook out to the one possession, no points. 2nd and 7, Westbrook. Westbrook to the
Getting better and better as the game goes on.
3rd down and 1. This is Kyle Eckel.
Back, rush the passer, get them tired, and then come back and hit them with the run. Bill Parcells and what he did with the Giants, very similar to that. We're going to come out, we're going to throw, we're going to tire the defense. Now you.
The Giants today have run only 6 plays this quarter. That pass is caught at the 41-yard line by Hank Basket. So the Eagles now. Eagles must get to the 45. Penalty marker as the catch is made by Westbrook. Brian Westbrook tackled by Antonio Pierce, but not before he picks up an Eagles first down.
It's a big huddle for those officials right now. They've been in there for a while. Lot to talk about, Kenny.
Personal foul. Face mask. Defense.
Westbrook. First and 10 for the Giants. 39.
To go and run the ball and make plays in the 4th quarter to go and close games out.
It's very easy. I mean, so methodical. There's so much confidence. Have they played well today? No, they haven't played up to their standard. That means that this game is in the bag for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they've responded to every challenge.
McNabb stumbling coming out of the gate.
Thing is down to 3rd and 11. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, Goose, this is amazing to me against this Giants defense. 8 out of the last 9. That's why the Giants had one possession in the 3rd quarter, the all-important 3rd quarter for Tom Coughlin.
3rd down and 11. Eagles must get to the 29. Down, throws complete to Westbrook. Westbrook inside the 15, the 10, touchdown.
By Trey Thompson to step up and get the Brian Westbrook.
Quentin Michael holding for David Akers. Takes it 5 yards with the win into the end zone. Westbrook celebrates. Eagles by 10.
Man, orders are coming in from all over. And thanks to FedEx Freight, we've been able to keep up.
You know, we should use FedEx Express to ship internationally.
Well, they fly more cargo around the world than anyone else.
Yeah, you should always use FedEx. Isn't that like a rule?
Well, there's always an exception that proves the rule, though. Like, my dad and my granddad were bald, but I still have a full head of
FedEx, serving over 220 countries and territories.
So the Storm is the world's first touchscreen BlackBerry. It's only on Verizon Wireless, and it's got this huge, brilliant screen. It's perfect for videos, pictures, and more.
Now get a free Bluetooth headset with purchase at Best Buy.
I love this thing.
Fox tonight's filled with excitement.
Yay! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Kick off your night with the live All-State BCS selection show. Then beware of an all-new Simpsons at a special time.
The secret is not to swallow the stingers.
by a tasteful Family Guy.
What are you doing? Oh, sorry, you just had a little something.
And an American Dad expedition for...
Gold!
Hit the Mother Lode, starting at 8/7 Central tonight on Fox.
It's an all-new holiday surprise.
It's funny. It usually explodes after I do that.
House is on a mission.
It's too bad you can't just be nice to people.
To get the perfect...
If you can't be nice, why be a doctor?
I think you're confusing nice and evil again.
But will medicine's most famous Scrooge discover the spirit of the season?
Why don't you show me how your inhaler works?
Miracles can happen. House. Viewer discretion advised. Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
The Giants are there. Only 7 today. Scored on special teams. Bradshaw in the backfield. Brandon Jacobs' return is questionable due to the knee injury he suffered earlier. Bradshaw gains 5 on first down.
Let's go back and take a look at this touchdown.
2nd and 5, Bradshaw. Penalty marker.
Level.
Manning only 5 completions today. Going deep, and it's broken off by Asante Samuel. Well, in a collision with his teammate Brian Dawkins.
Now that was very Cleveland-esque right there. We have not seen that from Eli Manning this season. You've got the blitz showing, but he's got some time. And here it comes. We're just unloading it right down the middle of the field. Boy, did he dodge one there.
Manning has thrown only 8 interceptions this season. 3 in that one game, the loss in Cleveland. Bradshaw. Bradshaw to the 3rd. All right, thanks, Kurt. 3rd down and 8. Giants must get to the 44. 3 wide receivers. Just 5 for 17 today. Manning throws with a catches for a first down. Nice play by Dominic Hickson, who climbs the ladder to make the catch and gain 17 yards.
That's a tremendous play because they need something positive right now. This offense is a little bit out of sync. They have been all afternoon. Dominic Hickson on the deep end route. Ball's up high. Goes and gets it. That's a good play by Michael, too. He gets there and puts a hit on. Dominic Hickson finishes the play.
Giants in Eagles territory from the 47. Ahmad Bradshaw. Brent Cole, the initial hit. Cole coming into this game, Darryl, leads the league in tackles for negative yardage. 2 today.
Well, he didn't have any in that first matchup, if memory serves me correct, and that was one of the areas that you want to focus on this afternoon. Kevin Boss in motion up against Trent Cole. Watch him split this. Gets right upfield, unaccounted for. A little bit of confusion between tackle and tight end.
Ball on the play. Jacob. Again, his return is questionable due to a Bradshaw, the lone back. 3 receivers set. 2nd down and 13. Manning.
Their other ones were a bit longer, though. This is normally the 4th down you see, but because of conditions and where the ball was on the field, you had a 4th and 3, a 4th and 4.
Four wide receivers on 4th and 1. Manning looking to throw. And he's hit from behind by Darren Howard. Eagles lead by 10 from the Giants 49. It's Westbrook.
There's that over the last couple games.
2nd and 5, Westbrook. Nothing. Nothing on that play. It's been a...
He's a good football player as a rookie. He's a tough guy, kind of out of that same, cut from the same cloth as Marion Barber.
Their last 11 on 3rd down today. They must get to the 29. McNabb scrambling in Eagles territory. 19-yard pass play. Giants are out of timeouts. From the Eagles 49. Manning to Amani Toomer. Tackled by Quentin Michael at the 41, a gain of 8. Giants have not lost at home this year. 6-0. They have not lost within the division. 4-0. Eagles coming into the game 0-3 against NFC East opponents. It's Toomer again, a first down. Tackled at the 25-yard line as we approach 1 minute remaining.
Well, there were a lot of indicators of how is Philadelphia going to pull off this game this afternoon. Everything seemed to point to the Giants, but there was a confidence within them that they were going to play against the run much better today.
Steve Smith tackled at the 14, close to a first down.
All right, Goose, I got to ask you, from a defensive player, I mean, in this situation, why don't you do what you've been doing all afternoon?
I don't know, Moose. I'm looking at the same thing you are saying. Bring the pressure. Just don't rush 4 guys as we're seeing right now in the line of scrimmage. Make Eli go and force the ball to bad throws. Right now you're giving him time. This is what he likes. He wants you to give him a lot of time back there and go and find his receivers. And I don't understand why teams go to that prevent defense.
Penalty marker in the end zone. Eagles indicating that it's against the Giants. Gene Steratore over for a chat with Andy Reid.
Illegal touching. Offense number 89. The receiver was out of bounds. First to touch the forward pass. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
You know, Moose, we talked about that prevent defense that we see the Eagles in right now. In my opinion, that prevent defense only prevents you from winning. How about that one?
I agree, Goose. I agree. It's a very profound statement. I mean, I know you can't be as aggressive because you don't want to give up something over the top in one play. You know, get caught in a zero-type coverage where you're bringing pressure and everybody's man-to-man. But yeah, they've gone right down the field here.
Penalty marker. Manning looking for Toomer. Rogelio Hansen made contact with Amani Toomer. And the penalty will be called against Hansen.
2 fouls on the play. Offside defense, number 58. That penalty is declined. Also pass interference defense, number 21. Spot foul, automatic first down.
It gets caught up in the wind, and Amani Toomer stops to turn around, look back, and Rogelio Hansen just makes contact there.
That's tough. They want you to turn your head back to the ball. See, you know, keep your eyes on the ball. Just don't play the defender. When you do that, the defender stops. You run into him because the wind slows the ball down. Sometimes you can't catch a break.
First and goal from the 1. 4 flags. Manning to the end zone. Touchdown, Darcy Johnson.
I think Philadelphia was offsides again. Whatever information they got, whatever tip they had, was bad intel.
Offside defense. That penalty is declined. Result of the play is a touchdown.
Darcy Johnson's second career reception, his second career touchdown, scored against Baltimore 3 weeks ago. Eli Manning, 13 completions in Darryl. 6 of the 13 came on that drive.
I'll tell you what, he looks his best when he's in that 2-minute hurry-up offense. Maybe they should have pulled that out a little bit earlier, Darryl.
Well, yeah, I think it's what you said before, Goose. They're playing a type of defense they haven't played all afternoon.
Right.
Manning had been 7 for 21 on that drive. 6 for 6, 57 yards, and a touchdown. So the Giants will now line up for the onside kick as they have pulled to within 6. Coming up, many of you will see the Cowboys and the Steelers, or the Rams and the Cardinals. Potential bonus coverage as well of the Atlanta Falcons and the New Orleans Saints. Just under 2 minutes remaining in New Orleans. The Saints leading 29-25.
Darryl, I got to bring something up that was really interesting. You're talking about playing on Thanksgiving and getting that, you know, extra days to go and get the team healthy, and feel that it helped you when you the Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving, and it gave you sort of that little extra momentum into the latter of of the season.
Without a doubt, you know, it's tough getting from Sunday to Thursday, but we never had to travel. It was a huge plus for us going to the game on Thursday. Philadelphia didn't have to travel. They get through that week, but now you days, and to get a guy like Brian Westbrook 10 days at that time of the year, I felt we always used it as a springboard into the advantage against
having 2 off weeks, having a couple extra days. I mean, to an NFL player, and me and you know it, Darryl, but people don't. 2 days is like a year for a player to have a couple days off, and in order to recoup and help some of the nagging injuries.
In by late in the year.
Yeah. Nice break for the average as well. Next 2 days. Penalty marker. And gathers it.
First rule: don't be offsides on the onside. See if that's the one. It looked like they were awful close to it.
As a team, and obviously everyone knows that I'm a big part of that, and so that was basically the nature of the meeting.
It went how you wanted it to go?
Well, yeah, I mean, anytime you know, you meet with an offensive coordinator, and like I said, I'm a big piece of this puzzle here, and we're going to go out tonight, and try to get a good win against a good opponent. So other than that, anything that happened, you know, last week, we're going to put it behind us, and you know, we're ready to play.
What about these things we're hearing about you and Jason Witten? Hyperbole?
Hey, all false, all lies.
You guys seem to, and sometimes in the past, thrive off of these kind of controversies. You think this can propel you? Because you guys are a little bit in a desperate situation right now.
Well, no, everyone knows this is a must game for us.
Clearly, I was proven wrong. But what was your reaction when you heard?
In this house for...
Okay, Tiki Barber and Eli Manning played together for 3 seasons on the Giants. Then Tiki retired and joined us here at NBC, and that changed the relationship a bit. This week, the former teammates were reunited for an interview.
Before last season on NBC, I publicly questioned your early leadership. Can he be a leader of men? Can he make these guys play for him when the chips go down?
Can he?
Well, you know, that's just to be determined. Right now, he hasn't shown it. Now, clearly, I was proven wrong. But what was your reaction when you heard?
I didn't know we were going there. You know, I think. You know, I obviously had to stand up for myself. I felt, you know, I had my way of doing things. You know, so you know, I kind of felt I was called out, so I had to come back and you know, stand up for myself. What you said, you know, it was a time for me to kind of stand up and fight for myself and say, you know, I think I am the leader. I've been through all sorts of things in New York City through the media, but kind of, you know, there's a time when you reach a certain point where you got to stand up and fight back a little bit.
That's one thing I've always admired about you, is that criticisms, praise, no matter what it is, you just kind of let it go and you go do your job. Do you think that helped you on the field?
I think so. I just, you know, that's just the way I've always been. You know, sometimes it's hard and everybody saying different things about you, so I think the best thing, and I think I've gotten better at it since I've gotten here, is just really putting everything aside and going and trying to do your job.
Here's what I've noticed. I think the New York Giants have taken on your personality, not Tom Coughlin's, but yours. Whether the ups and downs, you kind of just settle into the middle. Was there a point when you thought to yourself, or you felt to yourself, this team, or at least this offense, it's mine now, I have control over it?
Well, yeah, I think I kind of have felt that the team and a little bit of the offense has taken that philosophy, and we have some guys on our offense and coaching staff who are, you know, kind of get tensed up, and whether that's Coughlin or Kevin Gilbride, you know, their intensity, where I just kind of I try to stay calm, and they might be yelling at me, but I just kind of keep my cool. You know, when things are going haywire, and you know some of these coaches might be, you know, ripping some of the players, my job kind of, you know, keep everything cool on the sideline and keep us prepared.
Let's forget the distraction of Plaxico.
Right.
Let's forget all the particulars. The more interesting question is, how does this offense change without him?
You know, with Plaxico, sometimes it was pretty easy. Where if we had man-to-man coverage or single high, that was our matchup. We're going to him. He's going to beat the corner, and that's our way. So I think now, when we have man-to-man, you know, different guys are going to have to step up, and everybody's going to have to step up their game to kind of fill that void.
Here's people discussing the Giants. take away the running game and put the pressure on Eli and the wide receivers, and that's how you beat them. Can you guys deal with that pressure?
Yeah, I think we can deal with that. I think, you know, that's been the game plan for the last couple weeks. At Arizona, that was the game plan, and we threw on them. It was Washington, that was the game plan. We threw all over them in the rain. You know, Philadelphia, we didn't make the plays on offense. You know, I feel confident in our receivers, in our passing game. So I kind of feel that whatever you want to do as a defense, kind of pick your poison, because we got an answer for you.
And he takes a knee, and the New York Giants are the Super Bowl 42 champions.
You win the Super Bowl in New York, you're an icon forever. How often do you hear about it?
When you're around fans or you're out and about, you hear about it. And I think you know, the neat thing about winning a Super Bowl in New York is you know, I've been on some bad games and a losing season before, and to win a Super Bowl kind of erases all those bad memories. And you know, to have that feeling, and especially in New York, you know, it can be tough at times, and you think, you know, this isn't fair, this isn't fun, but to win a Super Bowl, it kind of makes it all worth it.
Okay, Tiki rejoins us live now from Dallas. Obviously, Tiki, this is a different guy than the one you shared a huddle with as recently as 2 years ago.
He definitely is, and he has a lot of confidence in himself. And I think more importantly, the guys believe him. After what happened at the beginning of last season between he and I, his teammates really rallied around him and loved his reaction to all the criticism that has been coming out against him, and it's showing in the way that they're playing. There are no dissenting voices in that locker room. It's Eli Manning's team, and it shows up that way.
Okay, and how do those teammates treat you now that you've come around every week? Is everything cool in that respect?
Well, contrary to what you may have heard or been reported, these guys are still my good friends. Every time I come down to these last few games, they've been very cordial and accepting of me, and that's what I would expect. This team was my home for many years, and it hasn't changed in a lot of ways from that.
Obviously, Tiki, every quarterback, no matter how good, needs his weapons and needs a diversified attack. Eli's up against it a bit with Brandon Jacobs out for a while and Plexico Burress gone at least for the rest of the season.
They're not going to change their offense, Bob. They're going to continue to execute it and run the same type of plays, and it's going to be imperative of their young receivers, Steve Smith, Dominic Hickson, and in particular, Sonoris Moss, who had a good week of practice this week to fill some of that void that Plexico left.
All right, Tiki, thanks very much. We'll get back to you. For more on Tiki's Sit Down with Eli, you can go to NBCSports.com. And Sunday Night Football is about half an hour away. The Cowboys hosting the Giants. With Tony Romo back in the pocket, Dallas is looking to avoid a replay of the Big Blue stomp that occurred in Week 9.
Pitiful display of run defense. Fans in Dallas can't wait for Tony Romo to get back.
It's huge motivation. I mean, if you need any more than what is already at stake to realize that we went up there and got a butt whoop.
1, 2, 3, go!
All right, sports fans, it's time to...
Carr throws near sideline. Carr 2-1. Touchdown, Jericho Cotchery.
The throw as Pennington avoids the pressure. Over the middle. Touchdown, Dolphins. Joey Hanos.
Left side crowded. Goes up the middle. Nice choice. 50-yard line. He's in the clear. This has got potential.
Get live audio.
Sierra Defensive Player of the Week honors after earning 2.5 sacks against the Cowboys back in Week 9. And there's Dallas's DeMarcus Ware, who has 16 sacks this season. That, for him, is already a career high. Well, Steelers fans are riding high. Ravens fans are in a snit, and Keith is here to tell us why.
What do you think?
Presents a special double feature of Thursday and Saturday Night Football. They are renowned surgeons. Every time they operate, they work against impossible odds to give their teams a fighting chance.
Touchdown!
QB. Manning's Colts battle the Jags. Romo's Cowboys take on the Ravens. When all you want is football, there's a place that has it all. NFL Network's Thursday Night Football. Colts, Jaguars. And Saturday Night Football. Ravens, Cowboys.
In Dallas, it's been a tumultuous week for the Cowboys, but finally, game time has arrived. And what a game! The Giants and Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
Sunday night, baby! Giants, boys. Got it.
She's on her way.
Tonight is the night. Everything we work for comes down to this. All right, Sunday night, here we go. Last on the lights for the ultimate show.
of Texas Stadium in an uproar on this 73-degree night as the Dallas Cowboys come out onto the playing surface ready to take on Eli Manning and the NFC East champion New York Giants on NBC's Sunday Night Football. Al Michaels along with John Madden. Andrew, we're going to see Dallas with the ball because they won the toss. John Carney at the age of 44. Talked to him before the game. He said, well, I thought I'd be home in San Diego watching this one on television back in August. Instead, Lawrence Tynes got hurt. Carney has been the Giants kicker apart from 2 games this year when they did activate Tynes, but Tynes inactive again as Tuck gets ready to come out on defense. And Carney has a good chance to wind up in the Pro Bowl. He's had a fabulous year. Miles Austin sets up deep for the Cowboys. The next to last game to ever be played at Texas Stadium. And here we go. Flash balls popping in Irving. Austin takes it at the 5-yard line. Comes straight up the middle and runs the ball back out to the 33-yard line as we take a look at the Dallas offense.
Tony Romo, Eastern Illinois.
Marion Barber III, Minnesota.
Deion Anderson, UConn.
Terrell Owens, Tennessee Chattanooga.
Roy Williams, Texas. Jason Witten, Tennessee. Lozo Adams, Michigan State.
Corey Proctor, Montana.
Andre Gerard, Colorado.
Leonard Davis, Texas. Mike Colombo, Boston College.
Marion Barber hurt his toe in the Thanksgiving Day game with Seattle, had 10 days to rest. Surprised a lot of people, including the owner, Jerry Jones, when he didn't play last week. Back in tonight. And they'll get it immediately. And Barber will run right into the strong safety, James Butler. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Jerry Jones last week, in a way, questioning the toughness of Barber is the way it came out. But Jerry said, you know what it was is I was so shocked. He's never been hurt, doesn't know where the trainer's room was, and you expect him to play every week.
Yeah, wasn't it he questioned his toughness, because I don't know that anyone could ever question Marion Barber's toughness, but I think he was surprised that he didn't play.
He comes out, they go to the gun on 2nd and 10, and the pass over the middle intended for Jason Witten. The tight end is incomplete, and so it'll be 3rd down and 10.
So you wonder where he's going to go first, and
Yeah.
it's right here to Jason Witten. You know, and you just see that he's that safety valve kind of in the middle, and that's the guy that you always see. You know, now the Giants are going to double T.O., and you can see that. They have the corner on him. They want to hit him. Then they have that safety coming over. So that takes Romo's read off of T.O. and takes it to Jason Witten.
3rd down and 10 out of the shotgun with Barber back in flanking Romo. They just do get the snap off. And going deep, and that's Owens, and Owens can't hold on to it. And the crowd, you can hear them. That was the same reaction Owens got when he came out and was introduced in the starting lineup.
Well, he was going to get man-to-man there. We saw on the 2nd down he was double covered on that one. They came on a blitz, so he's going to get man-to-man, and that is a perfect throw by Tony Romo. We talk about T.O., and he is a great receiver, but he will drop the ball. He doesn't catch everything.
Sam Pelescu to punt. This is R.W. McQuarters from the 21. 6-yard return. The Giants will take over at the 27-yard line as we take a look at their starters.
Eli Manning, Ole Miss.
Derek Ward, Valley View High School.
Madison Hedgecock, North Carolina. Amani Toomer, Michigan. Dominic Hickson, Akron. Kevin Boss, Western Oregon.
Dave Deal, University of Chief Illinois.
Rich Seibert, Western Illinois.
Sean O'Hara, Rutgers University.
Chris Snee, Boston College.
Kareem McKenzie, Penn State.
That line healthy and good. Manning and that line together haven't missed a game in almost 2 full seasons.
You know, you take that offensive line and you add fullback Madison Hedgecock, and that is really something running.
And there's Ware with a sack and a fumble, a forced fumble, and then the Giants are able to recover it as Rich Seibert winds up saving the Giants after the sack and the fumble. So Ware comes around the corner. That's his 17th of the season, the forced fumble, but the Giants were able to recover and keep possession.
Yeah, I was talking to DeMarcus Ware the other day and asked him about his pass rush move, and he said against Deal, all he has to do is get around that corner, beat him to the edge. And he said in any shotgun, in any passing situation, he can do that.
9-yard sack. It is second down and 19. On the ground now. On second and 19, that's a gain of a couple. Third and 17 now from the 19-yard line.
Cowboys have 6 defensive backs.
And they get to Manning, and the pass is incomplete.
Defensive line, I think that's in the run game. They are not great pass protectors.
42-year-old Jeff Fiegels to do the kicking. Fielded by Patrick Creighton at the 39-yard line. And he gets run out of bounds right in front of the Giant bench at the 45-yard line. Early first quarter, Texas Stadium, the Giants and the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
Hear about
Giants on defense now as the Cowboys have it for the second time. Start from the 44-yard line. Romo out of the shotgun. Well, breakout with Matthias Kiwanuka and Flozell Adams, the Cowboys left tackle, the Giants right end.
That'll be one of the matchups tonight. And
false start, number 82, offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
Jason Witten.
You're going to see, here's Flozell right here, and Kiwanuka. The play is over, the whistle's blown, and Flozell won't get up. Antonio Pierce comes in and said, hey, get off my guy.
Get your 340 pounds at least off my guy. That's what they list him at.
340 pounds, it's hard to get it up off the ground.
From the 39, they run a toss. Barber tries to cut it back inside. That's a real good play.